am live. Okay. Hello everybody. It's DTG2000 here. And as in the title, we're going to be going through the exclusive content, aka the Onslaught Intel. I've already done pre-season Intel, Season 1 Intel, and I've read that with Season 1, but now it's time for the Onslaught. Now it's 1 and 2, because they added more Intel that we had to get later on, and then they finally dropped Raid, so we finally have all the Intel. And who's in here? Oh yeah. So, first up on our Onslaught Intel is Requiem. We already know what they are called there. Late Checkpoint, Miami, David Martinez, front officer supervisor and lasting survivor staff member of the Blackwood, leaves a final message for his coworkers. I don't know how much longer I will survive, so I will make this brief. My name is David Martinez, and I have worked at the Blackwood for 5 years. I started in valet, got a job at the front desk before rising to front office supervisor. After many hours of fighting these things, I am the last of the Blackwood staff. I am hiding now in the hotel lobby closet, waiting for a rescue that I fear will never come. I emptied the staff vending machine, but my snack supply is rapidly dwindling. There are a few things I would like to say to my former colleagues. To Dexter, Assistant Controller, thank you for being kind to me. You helped me get my first job at Blackwood and supported me throughout. I know we had talked about transferring me to accounts receivable, but it was not to be. To Willie, Assistant Engineering Manager, before all this happened, you always kept to yourself, but when it mattered, you were brave enough to be there for the rest of us. Your knowledge of the Blackwood's extensive layout saved countless lives. I wish you had been spared your terrible fate. To Lindsay, sous chef, you're the finest dessert chef I know, but it is true you creme brulee knew no equal. It was your torregia that truly transcended time and space. Also, thank you for teaching me how to weaponize a cooking blowtorch. I never imagined I would see so many heads on fire. To Pablo, spa locker attendant, that bud from Cali is still the best damn grass I've ever had. Shit had me in a haze for days. To Arlington, assistant front office manager, you were a sad man. You frequently feared reprisal and reprimand from those above you. As a result, you were cruel to those below you. I only wish I could watch you be torn limb from limb again. To Bob, Blackwood Hotel manager, what you did for this community will never be forgotten. A true hero. To every guest I ever met in our lovely establishment, you should be kinder to those who work in the service of others. Most of us have come from nothing. We've worked hard to get to where we are in life. We are human just as you are, or were, before you were changed. To Carmen and Anthony, my wife and son, the loves of my life, I hope that you are both safe and have been spared this fate. We will meet again in the next life. Damn. And that was on Miami. So next up we got Tourist Trap on Miami again, because you know, Onslaught, fun. Amber Jackson, desk clerk at a Miami Beach visitor center, writes about her experiences after the dimensional breach occurs. There's not too much to read. Maybe that's a lie. My name is Amber Jackson, and I never thought of myself as the sort of person to write a note like this. But well, here we are, with me hiding inside Bob's yacht in the harbor. The good news? Those fucking creatures haven't found me in here. The bad? I'm rapidly running out of hamburgers and tequila. The food will be gone before the booze, which is good, because if I'll definitely need some fucking liquid courage if I have to make a run for it. As if this terrorist season couldn't get any fucking worse. 3 days ago, a giant freaky hole opened in the middle of Miami Beach. Whatever it was, it seemed to infect a good portion of the location population, causing them to attack and eat the rest of us. Ew. Dana said we should try to hold up in the visitor center. Sorry, Dana, not sorry, Dana. But the last person I trust right now is the person who's been lying to me about the affair she's been having with the tourism board's senior manager. Oh yeah, I know why Amber stayed stuck behind the front desk while Dana got promoted upstairs. Besides, if my mom taught me anything growing up in the Glades, it's that you can't protect yourself with the tourism pamphlets and postcards. You need real guns. I went over to Willie's because we both knew, no, he's got that 12 gauge behind the bar, but get this, he's been infected already. Had to put 2 in him before heading over to the Paramore. Things were bad there, but nobody got hit like the Blackwood. By the time I got there, it was more like the fucking black hole. What with the portal opening in the middle of their swimming pool, they even got to Alfredo, that hunky lifeguard with the weird nipples. Gotta say, I'm a little surprised the National Guard hasn't rolled in. Feels like this is part of something bigger. Like, what if this is how it starts? What if this is the Soviet invasion? Oh my god. Is this... What? What just happened? Oh my god. Is this like some weird reverse Bay of the Pigs, but with cannibal terrorists? Anyway, I plan on getting the hell out of here. I'm running out of food. Everybody's dead. Nobody's seen Bob. It's a fucking shit show. Bob's yacht is out of gas, but I heard they keep a couple of fuel canisters over at the Cayman. If I can't find it, I can drive the boat the hell out of here. Wait, these things can't swim, can they? Wish me luck. If Amber's going down, she's going down like her mama taught her. Kicking, screaming, drinking, and swinging. So 86 again on Miami. Jerry, bartender and the new owner at Grody's Pub, offers a little advice. 2 months ago, my wife divorced me, got the kids, took half my money, and kicked me out. My friend Billy said, move to Florida. It's beautiful year-round. Go get you some sun. So I moved to Miami to get me some sun and started working for my cousin Frankie, the owner of Grody's Pub. 1 month later, we get hit by a hurricane. The bar gets destroyed. I put half of what I had left into rebuilding the joint. Bob chipped in, bless his generous heart, so Frankie makes me co-owner. 2 weeks later, Frankie gets eaten by an alligator, or rather a gator, and the bar's been left in my name. Then, get this, turns out Frankie owned the bar, owed the mob money, so now I owe the mob money. They showed up all suited and strapped and took the rest of what little I still had, leaving me with nothing but the bar. And now, on top of everything else, everybody's going crazy and somehow turn these crazy freaks. I heard they got stung by killer bees that come down from the Palisades. Word of advice, don't move to Florida. Jerry. Angola breach report. So this is from Satellite. CIA Office Atticus submits a reporting regarding a dimensional breach in Angola, along with some intel recovered from a downed satellite. October 10th, 1984. Memorandum for Office for Requiem. Directorate of Science and Technology. Subject Angola breach. 1. Dimensional breach identified and confirmed in Angola, South Africa. Exact site of breach identified as redacted. The location of a downed KH-9 recon satellite. Area has been locked down and quarantined. Recommend Office of Requiem send in strike team to assess the situation. 2. At the time of the breach, locals from a nearby town had been witness scavenging materials at the site. One of the scavengers, a local adolescent named Amit, had successfully recovered faux tin from the satellite. After I located the boy, I was able to provide him with monetary incentive to sell them to me. It is unclear how this was missed when our salvage team was at the site. The intel is attached with the report. 3. The phone tint consists of 2 satellite reconnaissance images from 1983. The first photo is from the Project End Station facility in Moscow, Poland in the month of August. The second photo is from September and shows the facility surrounded by a military convoy. It appears the convoy is Spetsnaz Group Omega from before redacted. Well, it is unfortunate that this intel was not recovered sooner. At least we secured it now. It is a miracle this has been kept this out of the public eye. Atticus. So Moscow satellite capture 08.83. This is satellite again. KH-9 satellite images of Project End Station facility in Moscow, Poland from August 1983. Written on the back, KH-9 satellite image from August 83rd. No suspicious activity at or around Project End Station in Moscow, Poland. Only traffic to the site is usual fare. Polish youth and local vagabonds. Atticus. Look at that. D machine. We got the satellite capture 09.83. So this is August, this is September. A3 enhanced photo reveals military convoy on road approaching this facility identified as Spetsnaz Group Omega. Okay, that was satellite as well. Now, memorandum for Moscow. Now, this is Moscow. Senior Officer Caldwell recounts his interview with Agent Redpole in the resurgence of a highly classified Spetsnaz unit. April 11, 1983. Memorandum for Berlin Station. Subject: KGB Special Operations Group Omega. 1. Moscow Station has learned that the clandestine unit of Spetsnaz Special Operations Omega Group has been reactivated. Agent codename Redpole, Moscow Station's field asset inside the KGB 7th Directorate, has provided critical comment demonstrating the resurgence of the group in its new command structure. Redacted has assumed command of the unit. Background on Omega Group, established in late 1975, focused on the weaponization of unnatural phenomenon. While primarily a military operation, Omega Group has decided a large portion of its personnel to experimental research, including the study of exoscientific phenomenon, with which Agent Redpole translates as the supernatural. It is rumored the unit was created due to Redacted, considering the unit's motto, "We were the first, we are the last." There may be some truth to the rumor, with little support from the chairman Andropov. The unit received minimal fund. Oh my god, why does it do that? Funding. As a result, none of Omega Group's initial projects progressed past the research phase. The CIA had largely written them off by 1981, as it seemed their programs were entirely abandoned. 3. Agent Redpole believes the unit's resurgence is in response to the SDI announcement. They see the program as a threat and hope Omega Group can provide an appropriate defensive countermeasure. What that might be remains known. It is believed Redacted has given the order to pull thousands of files, film, and audio reels from KGB archives for review. Agent Redpole will let us know if anything develops from this directive. It is our recommendation that this threat be taken seriously and escalated immediately. The reactivation of such a unique and unknown group potentially poses a grave threat to the West. Our hard intel on Omega Group is limited, and we know even less about the scientific fields they research. It would be a mistake to not pursue this with utmost rigor. Part of the transcription from our interview with Agent Redpole has been attached to this report. I hope this message finds its way to appropriate hands. Senior Officer Caldwell, Moscow Station. Alright, we got Redpole interview excerpt from Moscow. Excerpt from the transcript of Caldwell's interview with Agent Redpole at Moscow Station. Redpole interview transcription, page 2 of 3. Imperative that you report this to your superiors immediately. The resurgence of this subgroup, what they are capable of. They are speaks in Russian. Caldwell, English, please. Redpole, they're all devil's minions. Do you know what they study? Exoscientific phenomenon. Do you understand what this means? The supernatural, comrade. How you Americans say things that go bump in the night. Their research is beyond that of conventional science. Caldwell, I thought you said this was a military unit. Redpole, it is military unit. What do you think research is for? You think curiosity? They are not cats. They are Soviets. They are making weapons, countermeasures, preemptive measures to combat the West. Caldwell, aside from your word, I am assuming you have proof this time? Proof of this? Redpole rummages through his coat, pulls out a cassette tape, and motions... Oh my god, I hate this fucking bullshit. And motions at the cassette tape player on the table. Caldwell nods. Redpole inserts the tape. Repol, you will turn off recorder now, please. Tape recorder turn off for 12:34:15. Recording details redacted. Tape recorder turned back on at 12:37:01. Caldwell, was that redacted? Repol, redacted. Has been given command of Omega Group. He has ordered his teams to dig through the KGB archives. Caldwell, why? What's he looking for? Repol, that I do not know, but when he finds it, it is said he will have the full support of Chairman Cherbakov. Omega Group is about to be at the center of a very large KGB operation. You must act before it is too late. To whom it may concern, this is Nuketown 84. Commune leader Gina witnessed the annihilation of her isolated community, the Nuketown Collective. To whom it may concern, and if this doesn't make you concerned, something's seriously wrong with you. My name is Gina Daster Nicastelio, and I founded the Nuketown Collective 3 years ago. I was the first so-called squatter, got the plumbing working, painted the first mural, and I personally petitioned the Department of Defense and the governor to legally recognize that despite this being an old nuclear test site, we are not in fact on federal land. I mention this because when your neighbors is Area 51, good fences make good neighbors, takes on unique significance. I've seen black helicopters and lights in the sky. I've heard an eerie, almost subsonic late-night hum and felt it rattle my bones. I can only guess what terrible experiments are carried out in secret in there. That's why I made Nuketown Rule number 1, no trespassing on or contact with Area 51 ever. As I write this, my community is shattered. My brothers and sisters are literally tearing each other apart. It started an hour ago, with a sound like a human shriek that came from all sides and something that looked like a mini aura borealis appearing beside the house across the street. They were having a cookout, and everyone close to that aura thing immediately started wailing and moaning as their skin dried up like rotten leather. Wow. I watched through my window as they attacked the others like coyotes on a jackrabbit. I'm not even going to try to process my emotions yet. Survival comes first. I don't know if it was radiation, germ warfare, or some sort of chemical weapon. But I have no doubt of the source. We keep our distance, but Area 51's bad science came to us. We have no phone lines out here. God damn it. So I called for help on my ham radio. I have a friend in Indian Springs who I chat with sometimes. She responded, but a wave of static drowned her out. A very stern military-sounding voice cut in. Stay put, we are aware of the situation, help is on the way. That was it. No answers to my question, just stay put, we are on our way. I never thought an offer of help could sound less reassuring. I locked the door and windows. I may be paranoid, but I'm considering making a run for it before help arrives. Daster. Punks ain't pacifists. Nuketown 84. Eddie's hippie neighbors finally give up being vegetarians. Only reason I'm here is because my bandmates dumped me in the desert when I puked in the van. Fuckers can't take a joke. Anyhow, those hippies at the Nuketown Collective saved me from dying to thirst and gave me a place to crash. So I guess I owe them something. For sure they didn't deserve to go out like they did. They threw a barbecue today. Excuse me. They threw a barbecue today, which is funny because they're vegetarians. I was playing my guitar on the other side of the house when it happened. I don't know what it was. Looked like the air ripping open. Anyone close went glassy-eyed and just attacked like actual murder. Here's the thing, these commune losers are pacifists. Like, yeah, fuck the government and fuck their war merchants and all, but if you go for my throat, I'm not answering with a hug. So I was the only one fighting back. All I had was my guitar, but if you saw one wreck an amplifier, you know why you can't call it an axe. So I caved in some skulls, which is not as fun as it sounds. Long story short, whatever they caught is contagious. Too many fucked up murder hippies to deal with. So I ran back to my room. I hear them outside, but they don't know where I hid. Only only other person who didn't catch it is Gina, not using her dumbass hippie name. I see Gina's window from mine. She saw me and taped up a note. Keith, soldiers coming, run away. Fuck that, I'm staying put and letting the experts handle this. Might write a song while I wait, if I can get my poor guitar back in tune. Cellar Dwellers, Nuketown A4. Harmony takes drastic steps to protect her family. People will judge what I did here, whether I'm still around or not, so I'm saying my piece on paper while I still have the chance. I was here from the start with Sunny and Daster. I know everyone here intimately, even that newcomer kid. You have to understand, this is my family. Even now, I can't give up on them. If your brother or daughter caught rabies or smallpox, would you turn your back on them? I never liked having an Air Force base for a neighbor, but most days I forgot they were even there. Now helicopters have landed and troops are going door to door. I only dodged them because I saw Dacer's note in the window. The one meant for Keith. I knew the military-industrialist complex wasn't coming to rescue us, so I checked Keith's room. I found Astrid, Riverstone, and Mariposa feasting on him like lionesses. I got them to chase me into my basement, ran out and locked them in. The walls are thick. I don't think the soldiers can hear them. They're burning bodies out here. Once they leave, I'll drive into town and let the world know, and then the Pentagon will have to give us the cure. Either that or some idiot soldier will open my cellar and people will say I set up an ambush. Look, I didn't start this. I just can't let what's left of my family end up in a bonfire of corpses. Harmony. Shit. We got Game Over from the Pines. Cal practically lived at the arcade, now you just might die there. Where to start? The Galaxy Room. I spend most afternoons at the arcade with Perry and Chris. The manager, Walter, even gives us some free tokens sometimes. He's like 27, but cool for an old dude. Anyways, we were there when the shit hit the fan. I was going for a high score on ICBM command, so I didn't notice the people screaming at first. Kids scream here all the time. Then Chris yanked me away from the machine. We couldn't run toward the food court. The people out there looked like they did some back crank or angel dust, and they attacked anything that moved. I even saw them pull down Mr. Colson from PE class. He used to play college football. Walter let us in his break room. Like I said, he's pretty cool. I tried to call home, but something was wrong. Like not a busy signal or whatever, but just static, and what sounded like little whispers. The harder I listened, the less I wanted to. The crank mob pounded on the door, and we could tell it wasn't gonna hold. Walter was praying, which was scary and useless. Perry unscrewed the AC vent with his knife pocket, and we slipped through the duct just as they broke in. But Chris was too big and got stuck. I heard him scream, but there was nothing we could do. We ran for the theater exit, but they cornered us. Then someone charged out of jumping sport goods, smashing heads with a baseball bat. It was that dumbass rent-a-cop going all berserker on them. We ran, but for a second, me and Rent-a-Cop locked eyes, and I don't know, he looked happy. I mean, he was into it. He liked it. I used to laugh at that guy. Now I don't want to see him ever again. Ever. Now we're in the radio house stockroom. Couple of chicks here too. They look like they've been through hell, so we're giving them space. One's writing a letter, which gave me the idea to type this on the word processor they keep back here. God, I wish I had a smoke. P.S. 2 hours later, the girls took off a while ago. Hope they're okay. I just heard some helicopters landing. Looked through the loading bay door and saw soldiers spreading out. Walter said to stay put if we don't want to get shot by accident. Fingers crossed we might still get out of this alive. Breakup. The Pines. Food court worker Julie finds first love in zombie outbreaks can get both messy, or can both get pretty messy. There you go, Jesus. I've worked at hot dog stand in the food court ever since it opened. Today I heard screaming and suddenly people were running, chased by other folks who looked like they were, I don't know, rotten. They knocked people to the floor and just ripped into them. I saw my boyfriend Greg run past and yelled at him for help. He took one look at me and kept running. By then, the rodheads were trying to climb over the counter. I grabbed a rotisserie skewer in each hand and just started stabbing. Squeezed past and started looking for a way out, or at least a place to hide. I saw Greg trying to lock down the doors to the 18 store. Carol, who works there, pushed him aside and opened it for me, which was brave since I was covered in blood and holding those skewers like swords. But none of the crazies had used weapons, so I guess she knew I wasn't one of them. I yelled at Greg for abandoning me when we've been dating for like 6 months. Carol heard that and started laughing. Turns out she's been dating Greg for 6 weeks. Greg started making some lame excuses and sweating like crazy. I thought it was because he knew he was busted, but he was making less and less sense, shivering, snarling. Then he wasn't Greg anymore. He was one of them. I had my skewers, but I hesitated. Carol snatched one for me and stuck it through Greg's eye. I guess that's the difference between 6 months and 6 weeks. She's turned out to be pretty great. Too good for Greg anyways. She checked the store alarm system, which has a direct line to mall security. The guard sent a message. The army is on its way, but Carol says the guard's a creep and not to trust him, so we're going to make a break for it together. Wish us luck, Julie Johnson. Respect. The Pines once again. In its darkest hour, Mall at the Pines security guard Tom Davis finally finds his calling. Got bounced by the army and the police department, so guarding this mall outrun by shoplifters, pranked by arcade kids, laughed at by food court girls, was a daily reminder of my failure. Decided it was my time to hand in the badge, shave the mustache, and spend the rest of my life working at a record store or a video rental. Now I realize Providence steered me to this moment. I was in the mall security office when it happened. The power surged, my cameras were booted, and then I saw them, half-dead looking people lashing out at customers near the fountain. I didn't know if they were terrorists, junkies, or what, but I had to act. I ran out with the nightstick. Cheap piece of crap snapped the first time I swung it, so I grabbed an aluminum baseball bat from the sporting goods store and got to work. Must have saved at least 10 people, including those smartasses from the arcade. The little ringleader looked at me with something new in his eyes. Respect. Phones are down. I tried the police band, picked up military chatter from a unit called Requiem. They're on their way to contain the situation. I'll hold down the fort till they get here. Officer Tom Davis, Mall at the Pines Security. Alright, and that is Requiem. So now we got 10 Omegas, and they're all just documents. First up, Cuidar Madre, Soldiers of Death. And we got this on Cartel. George, a young soldier in the Menendez cartel, writes a letter to his mother following the events of a dimensional breach. January 12th, 1984. Cuidar Madre. I know you have not wanted to hear from me ever since Manuel and I started working for the cartel, and I have tried to respect that decision, but something has happened out here, something terrible, and if I do not warn you, I would truly be as bad as you think I am. It began yesterday morning. I was at the airstrip helping load a cargo plane. Raul Menendez himself was there, so his Sicaro set up a checkpoint in case the gringos who murdered his father tried to interfere. I was driving a forklift out of the warehouse when a strange sound rose up all behind us, almost like a human scream. The Sicarios grabbed their guns thinking it was a raid. Instead, the area around the checkpoint crackled like lightning, and I swear it looked as if the air itself was somehow splitting open. Mama, this will be hard to believe, but all I can do is tell you what I saw. The men nearest the rip in the air staggered and fell. They looked withered, like corpses left out in the sun. Even so, they all got up and walked toward the rest of us, dropping their weapons as if they did not know what they held. Some of the other workers ran to help them. the Sicaros attacked them with their hands and teeth. I saw one tear a man's throat out, all the while that rip in the air stayed open. For all I know, it is still there. Manuel has not been present for any of this. He was back at the cartel's main camp. He always told me to show loyalty and courage around Raul, but in that moment I just pressed the gas and tried to drive that forklift as far from the airship as it would take me. I saw Raul's car pull away in the other direction. The pilot of the cargo plane fired up his engines and made the quickest takeoff I have ever seen. Some of those with their mindless soldiers of death clung to the plane as it left the ground. I think one got inside, because I heard it go down almost immediately. That sound stayed in my head, along with the screams of the friends I abandoned as I drove across the airstrip and into the jungle. Aside from Menendez and his driver, I may be the only one who escaped that place alive. So the Madre Raul's wrath, Cartel. George's letter to his mother continues, describing the cartel's battle against the soldiers of death. I left the forklift at the tree line and ran up a hill that overlooks the airstrip. I could hear gunshots the whole time, growling less frequent. By the time I reached the top, anyone who understood how to shoot a gun was already dead. The soldiers of death now feasted on the corpses of my coworkers. I have always been afraid of Menendez Sicaros, even after Manuel joined their ranks, but they were still men who could be reasoned with or paid off. Now they are mindless beasts who never knew mercy to begin with. I walked 10 kilometers back to the main camp, avoiding the roads, but when I arrived they were already fortifying the place. I nearly got shot as I walked out of the jungle, but they lowered their guns when I waved and called out. I started to tell them what happened at the airstrip. They said it was happening at all our camps in the area. Senor Raul ordered us to shoot on sight anyone infected by the time withering condition that turned his bodyguards into mindless cannibals. Then he went to call in a favor from his contact overseas. No one could tell me where Manuel was. I slipped away and went to a place in the jungle where he buried some money he never told El Jefe about, and that is where I found him. Mama wandering aimlessly, moaning like an animal. He is no longer your son or my brother. He is one of the soldiers of death now. I have my my controller just died for no reason. Okay, that was weird. I even managed. Wait. I have my orders, but I cannot shoot Manuel. What if it was temporary? What if they did find a cure? I decided to go back and tell the others I could not find him. I even managed to tether him to a tree so he could not wander away. All I know was if the cartel saw him like this, they would cut him down without a second thought. Then the Madre Manuel's fate from the cartel. George's letter to his mother comes to a close, revealing the fate of his brother Manuel. I know the reach of the Menendez cartel extends around the world, but I did not understand just how high Jeffy's influence went until his Soviet friends arrived by helicopter. Several squads of Russian soldiers that made our Sicaros look like Boy Scouts. Senor Raul spoke to them briefly, then told us these men are in charge now. I have not seen El Jefe since, but his Russian friends seem to know more about the whole situation than they are willing to admit. It feels less like they are here to help than they are here to cover it all up. I am beginning to doubt that I will survive this after all, and to be honest, I don't care much, not after today. You see, I went to check on Manuel after the Russians sent our kill squads to eliminate all soldiers of death. By the time I reached out, Manuel, I knew I was being followed. Turned out it was Hector Garcia from Matagalpa. He was Manuel's squad leader, which is probably why Hector let me live. He understood. What the fuck is this controller doing? Damn it. which is probably why Hector let me live. He understood why I tried to spare my brother, but leaving Manuel in his condition was simply not an option. So he said he would keep this between us on one condition. You must spare your brother the continued path of his existence. And so I did it. Mama, I put 2 bullets in Manuel's head, and then I buried him. Hector even helped dig the grave. I do not expect you to understand, much less forgive me, but Manuel was already gone. I had to let go of him and move on. So do you. I pray you are safe, and that Rio Blanco was spared this horror. I'm going to stay here and help hunt down the rest of the infected. After that, I expect the Russians will eliminate all witnesses, including myself, and I will deserve it. But what happened to Manuel and the others was not their fault. And I know you will disagree, but it was not God's judgment either. They were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. I only hope time has not run out for everyone. Connemore George. So we got the last post convoy from Crossroads. Farouk Abdullah, a young Uzbek soldier in the Soviet 40th Army, writes about an incident involving a Soviet convoy arriving at his remote outpost. 23rd of May 1984. My name is I am 23 years old. I am a soldier in the Soviet 40th Army, stationed at the forward operating base on the Uzbek-Afghan border, and I am writing this to set the record straight regarding the events that happened here. I do not mean the battle that took place last December, when the convoy of RSD-10s was attacked by American Special Forces. I mean what happened later. I mean the reason no one should ever come here again. After that battle on December 5th, our commanders found alternative routes for missile deployments and ordered our unit to vacate the base. However, I was asked to remain here and maintain the base in case it was reactivated. I think they chose me because I am from a nearby village. My family connections and contacts in the community would be helpful in preventing other locals from looting the base. I was even promoted to the rank of F-Rear from before the pullout. 5 months passed quickly. Then a week ago, another missile convoy arrived unannounced. Apparently, the top brass decides it was less likely to be ambushed if no one knew it was coming. As I tried to get the mess operational to feed my surprised guests, I heard the strange sound, like a woman wailing, but from all directions. There was something like a thunderclap, and I thought one of the missile trucks had exploded. By the time I got outside to see what happened, some of the convoy troops had set upon their squad mates like wolves tearing into sheep. There was no time to organize a counterattack, especially since the enemy were our brothers in arms. I grabbed a latrine spade and fought off at least 3 of the crazed soldiers before running off in the direction of my village. I will never forget those men's faces. There was no humanity in their eyes, teeth bared like rabid dogs. The last post cursed. From Crossroads again. Faru continues to write about the incident, revealing that he brought men from his village to assess the situation. When I reached the village, I immediately called for the elders to gather. This was not merely a threat to my family and neighbors. I knew the 40th Army would send more men once they lost contact with their missile convoy, and if they found nothing but Soviet corpses, the blame would fall on every Uzbek within 100 kilometers. I had no wish to see the elders strung up in the village square. Fuck. So I led them back to the base to see if we could somehow salvage the situation. We found a handful of men wandering the base, moaning mindlessly. We watched them from a distance, careful not to let them see us. Though through my binoculars, they looked like they had been dead for at least weeks, yet still they staggered around, staring blankly, incapable of speech. One of the elders was a respected holy man. He told us that the soldiers were not dead, they were cursed. This meant there was at least some hope the curse could be broken and the men restored. And since this was our best chance to avoid Red Army reprisals, it was decided that we should round up the men and secure them until the curse itself could be dealt with. I led the group that cleared out each of the fortifications. It was the most frightening thing I have ever done. While we tried our best to do no harm, the cursed men did not hesitate to attack us. Our only advantage was that these mindless soldiers did not even attempt to use their weapons. I did not think they even remembered how to use a gun, much less who they were. Somehow we managed to round them all up without losing any of the villagers assisting me. I made sure that the elders stayed out of the base, while only the young and strong did the actual work. They prayed the entire time, and I think it helped. Now the stricken soldiers are locked inside the communications bunker. We collected their weapons and stored them in the village. It is up to the elders to find a way to break the curse. The last post, consequences. Crossroads again. Faru finishes recounting the incident, describing a tragic confrontation with devastating consequences. The elders spent a week trying different rituals to break the curse on those soldiers, but nothing seemed to work. Yesterday we ran out of time. Helicopters arrived at daybreak, depositing a Spetsnaz unit in the base. I was still asleep in the village while they established a perimeter and started searching for the missing soldiers. It did not go well. From what I can piece together, they opened up communication bunker and immediately lost 2 men before gunning down the rest of the cursed men. Now they were no longer on search and rescue mission. They wanted revenge. I got word of the Spetsnaz unit's arrival about the time they needed to attack the village. I had only a few minutes to organize a resistance. I knew that as an enlisted Soviet soldier, I would surely be court-martialated, assuming I lived that long. But the time had come to choose between my job and my people. It was not a hard choice. I distributed the weapons we collected from the base to anyone who could hold the gun and pull the trigger. The women fled with the children, and we awaited the arrival of one of the fiercest combat units in the world. Our only hope was deception, so I asked one of the elders to stand with me in the square, bound in ropes, like I had taken him prisoner. I wore my uniform and saluted as the Spetsnaz troops rolled in. They approached cautiously, but as I hoped, they kept their attention on me. And once they were all inside our kill box, I shouted, I have the one responsible. This was a signal to the others hiding. In less than 10 seconds, it was all over. My people opened fire from all sides. They began to fire back. We lost 8 villagers, including the elder who bravely stood beside me as bait. Somehow I came through it uninjured. The entire Spetsnaz unit perished. We are now abandoning the village and dispersing somewhere else in Uzbekistan. Some, like myself, heading to Afghanistan. We burnt the bodies of the Spetsnaz men. I threw my uniform on the pyre. If I am ever captured by my former comrades, I am a dead man, but I do not regret my choices. Something terrible happened here, and we tried at every step to do what was right. In the end, the only option left to us was violence, but we are still alive, and that is all that matters. A formal request from Moscow, a memo discussing Red Pole, CIA asset with the KGB who has gained knowledge from Omega Group. To Chairman of the KGB Cherpakov, RE, 7th Directorate Surveillance Office, Kirill Ledovsky. It has come to my attention that there is a spy within the 7th Directorate Surveillance Office. Kirill has been spotted meeting with known CIA operative Caldwell, second in command at the CIA station in Moscow. From what I understand, the knows of this station and the permits it continued existence because we have our own operatives on the inside, ensuring all outgoing information is either manipulated or entirely fabricated. At this time, I must formally request the immediate elimination of the Moscow station. I have been informed that the officer Kirill, codenamed Red Pole to the Americans, has provided information regarding KGB Special Operations Group Omega and its new mission. This information has been verified as accurate, and Officer Kirill has supposedly smuggled a recording of myself and redacted. It is imperative the Americans do not learn of our existence, nor that our ongoing projects. Considering your renewed investment in this program, your decision to appoint me as commander, you know what is at risk. If it's the chairman's desire to allow the CIA station to remain and continue the charade, I recommend the immediate termination of Agent Caldwell, Officer Krill, and the recovery of all the stolen materials relating to KGB Special Operations Group Omega. With your approval, I have an officer who will gladly carry out the required executions. Let me know your decision. I know you will do right by this institution and right by the future of the greater Soviet Union. Regards, redacted. That's fucked up. Ugh. There's really not much in Maxis, which is good. But now we got housewarming canyon fire onto raid. When a dimensional breach strikes his Hollywood Hills mansion, producer Eric Silverstein reaches out to a friend in the media. To the attention of Roger Bothwell, Metro Desk Manager, Los Angeles Daily Press. First, Roger, I'm glad you skipped my housewarming party. Something terrible has happened up here in the hills. Everyone who came is dead, sort of, and not because of the canyon fire bullshit being fed to the media. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it seems like it is a fact-acting disease or radiation poisoning. All I know is something explosive erupted in the middle of my property in less time than it takes to write this. My guests looked and acted like mindless rage monsters. Remember that story you did on people smoking bath salts? I think it was like that, Roger, but 10 times worse. I tried running toward Mulholland, but got turned back by some seriously geared up troops. They refused to ID themselves, but the soldier patch read Requiem. Are they stationed near here? I produced 4 war movies in the last decade and never heard of them. I got back home, but some of my guess is breaking into my neighbors' houses. Cables out, but on antenna TV, I caught a live shot claiming there's a brush fire up here and the gunshots are just illegal fireworks. Like I said, bullshit. Get the truth, Roger. I'm leaving this letter in my mailbox, stamped, sealed, and addressed to you. I don't know if I'll make it, but I do know postal service will resume. Just like I know you'll get to the bottom of this. Be well, Eric. Eric Silverstein, PGA, President, Silver Screen Productions. Housewarming stash room. Raid as well. Eric recounts how his housewarming party turned into a bloodbath, just as he discovered the previous owner left him as a little surprise. I'm hiding in the security room I inherited from the previous owner. The cameras, the alarms, the communication systems, all the tech geeks in town couldn't figure it out. I kept them all in working order, and that decision just might save my life. Everybody told not to bid on this house. The owner went missing. He was cartel connected, and the feds wrecked it so bad it should have been condemned. But rather than scare me off, the house's checkered past made it irresistible. Which brings me to the housewarming. Over 100 guests, industry heavyweights up in corners, all here to party at Scarface Central. It was showing up room to a hot new actress named Jenny Locke. When she popped open a hidden panel on the floor that every single contractor missed, it started beeping like we'd set off a little alarm. Inside the compartment was another insane number of cocaine bricks marked with a symbol that screamed Cartel. Was I going to jail? Were very scary people looking for these drugs. Janie only had eyes for the coke. She ran to fetch her agent's last boyfriend like she had just won the lottery. I was trying to deactivate the beeper, beacon, whatever, when something else went off by the pool. I assumed it was another hidden device or booby trap. Ran to the door, saw the guests tearing into each other, and locked myself in. Then a message beep on the security system. Don't know who it's from, but it's written in Russian. Russian. What the fuck? Has to be the previous owner's friends wondering who found their cocaine. But shouldn't it be in Spanish or something? Man, when shit goes wrong, it goes all at once. Janie's banging on the door now. She's not looking to do lines anymore. I'm going to see if I can get out on foot and contact Roger. If anyone comes for the drugs, they can have them. Hell, I'll throw in the house. Housewarming, friends of the owner. Raid again, in which Eric learns the previous owner was under surveillance by some very scary people. I'm still alive. My escape attempt was a bust, turned back by soldiers. You'd think they want to get people out of the area, but I guess this is martial law quarantine situation now. So I climbed back to the security room. Poor Janie was still scratching at the door. Wrote a letter to my ex, Roger. I was pissed when he declined the housewarming invite. Now I'm thankful he was nowhere near this shit show. I need him to get the word out that something terrible is happening here, and the powers that be are lying about it, so I left out details in my letter that would make it less credible. I just hope he still cares enough about me to take it seriously. I checked the security monitors for more Russian messages. That's when I saw two guys dressed in black come over the wall on camera 3. At first thought they were the soldiers I encountered, but these guys carried AK-47s, the bad guy guns, so I figured they were sent by whoever. Oh my god, why does it do that? So I figured they were sent by whoever wrote that message in Russian. Then Jamie finally broke the lock. Didn't think that was possible for someone her size, but she chased me out the window and around the state. All the while I heard those paramilitary goons clearing out my former party guests, sweeping through the place like they knew every inch of this property. Janie covered me in the room, and we found the coke, just as the AK-47 guys showed up. Janie killed one and injured the other before getting gunned down. I wanted to help the injured guy, but a few more party guests showed up and pounced. I slipped out the window while they finished him off. I'm back in the security room now. Another message came through, this time in English. They call themselves Omega, and they're offering a small fortune to take the corpses and the stash off my hands. I gave them one of my business accounts, and the wire transfer happened inside of 10 minutes. So maybe things are looking up. I just hope they don't expect me to stick around and say thank you. Alright, so now we got 6 maxes. Housemeister in the Secret. This was on Checkmate. Gertrude Bayman, caretaker for the secret KGB training site, witnesses a dimensional breach occur inside the facility. Whoops. 3rd of April. Sorry, just checking time. 3rd of April, 1984. About a month ago, I was asked by the KGB to help safeguard a secret training facility they are constructing next to my farm near Bonesdorf. The Chekists knew I worked as a Stasi filling clerk during the 50s and 60s. My former supervisor told them Gertrude Baumann could be trusted to keep a secret, no doubt thinking he was doing me a favor, and so they informed me they wanted a local asset to keep an eye on the place without alerting the neighbors. It was an offer I could not turn down. In such an instance, one says ja and then keeps their mouth shut. So I walked the grounds twice a week, checking gates and locks to make sure no farmer or villager trespassed the facility. To be honest, it was all rather boring. A week ago, the Chekists advised me that a delegation for the Lubanka were coming to inspect the facility. They wanted me to show them around, which made me rather nervous. If the wrong people think you know too much, well, I have filed enough execution reports to know where that leads. But I also know how to both helpful and ignorant in all ways that count. Yesterday they arrived, these gray men in their suits, and I led them through the facility, pretending not to recognize the crude reproductions of Air Force One in the Oval Office. Clearly, an assassination mission would be rehearsed here. The less I seemed to realize this, the better. And then it happened. There was an otherworldly sound and flash of light in what I have come to think of as the airplane hangar. I was standing away from the group, having what I feared might be my last cigarette. Whatever that light was, it engulfed the KGB inspectors, and I heard them scream. I ran to assist with injuries, but as my vision cleared, I could see they were changed, horribly changed. They howled like lost souls and lumbered towards me. I barely managed to latch the door with them inside. What do I do now? They are still locked in the hangar. Do I contact my friends in the Stasi and let them know? Will I somehow get blamed, or what happen to these men? Stupid question. Of course I will. They will soon be missed. Somehow, or someone will be looking for them again. What do I do now? Hausmeister in the lie. Checkmate. After stealing the infected KGB inspectors inside the training facility, Gertrude plans her next steps. 5th of April 1984. As anticipated, I was visited today from KGB agents looking for their new inspectors. Obviously, I'm still alive to write this, but only because I knew what to expect and prepared accordingly. After the KGB delegation were altered, infected, reanimated, I don't have a word for it. I returned home and drove their car to an old ignite mine a few kilometers away. The mine was sealed back in the 1920s, but I managed to move the barricades and hide the vehicle. The walk home gave me ample time to come up with a story for my inevitable visitors. They arrived this morning before dawn, breaking down my front door and rousting me from bed. I showed the appropriate amount of fear and confusion when they said the inspectors had failed to report. I told them I toured the facility with the delegation, who seemed upset by what they found. I said they argued all the way back to my house, some wanting to report to Moscow immediately, others insisting they drive straight to Stasi HQ in Berlin. One thing they did agree on was to have the entire place dusted for prints. I did not know why they were so agitated, but they were definitely looking for someone to blame, and before they left they thanked me, saying they might require my testimony in the days to come. This had the desired effect. The men realized they were possibly at the center of a dispute between Soviet and DDR secret police, and they had best tread lightly. One wrong step, including harming me or disturbing the facility, might earn them a one-way ticket to the Gulag. They even repaired the door before departing in the direction I told them the inspectors had driven off. But I am not exactly celebrating. I bought it myself a day or two at best, and if they do risk visiting the training facility, they will find their missing delegation from Moscow. I will not be able to talk my way out of anything after that. Hausmeister in the visitor. Checkmate again. Gertrude is visited by a stranger who offers to help her with her little problem. 6th of April 1984. It seems the KGB and Stasi were not the only parties interested in what became of the Lubyanka delegation. Yesterday there was a soft knock at the door about an hour after sunset. It was a woman in her 30s, German like me, golden hair, and quite handsome, though she wore no wedding ring. She did not say her name, and I did not ask it. All she had to say was, "I am here to help you deal with your little problem," and allowed her inside. I have met enough spies to know a field agent, probably BND, when I see one. She said she was aware of what happened to the KGB inspectors. I pressed her for details, insisted I deserved them after containing those poor wretches in the hangar. She would only say that familiar incidents were taking place elsewhere, though they were kept out of the news, even in the West. She also said I was lucky to have escaped the fate that befell those men. I asked how she knew about me, had been watching me, or more likely the training facility. She said she worked for an organization that would eliminate all trace of what happened in the hangar. Additionally, she had been arranged for someone to smuggle me to West Berlin, where a new identity was being prepared for me. As I write this, she is either at the training site or at the mine, making sure the car cannot be found. I am packing one bag and saying goodbye to the only home I have ever known. But if others out there are affected by whatever this is, plague, curse, worse, then I must count my blessings and consider myself lucky to have made a new friend. Alright, we got a KGB contact note from Garrison, a note from Max's KGB contact, accompanied by 2 photos she's managed to send to Max's. I was able to gain a glimpse of the briefing file being circulated amongst the committee. It speaks of a hidden film being transferred to videotape, something called the end station. While I have not viewed the tape itself, the file contains still images from the film. I do not understand why I am seeing other than it involved the Red Army. Perhaps your eyes will make more sense of it. I continue to try to secure the tape itself. I can only hope this message reaches you at the dead drop as instructed. Soviet war hero Garrison as well. A picture of the Russian colonel shaking hands with Red Army soldier. A frame from a film reel found in the KGB archives. Image features Colonel Lazarev and Sergeant Zykov moments after the colonel decorated the sergeant for his impending act of heroism. Film reel is dated February 10th, 1945. Red Army encounter. A picture of the Red Army encountering an unknown phenomenon. A frame from a film reel found in KGB archives. Image features the 8th Guard Army making an unusual discovery inside the abandoned German facility known as Project End Station. Film reel is dated February 3rd, 1945. And that is it, everybody. We're done. So you see 33 at 37 at 37, 23 at 23, 18 at 18, 32 at 32. And that is all the intel. Now that was a lot. And yeah, that was just a lot. So I guess until next time. Yay. Later.